Well, look, one of the biggest disappointments of the current president is that he came in promising hope and change and unity, and he ended up being incredibly divisive. Gridlock in Washington is some of the worst that we've ever seen. Race relations are completely awful, and I think the country is feeling completely divided. Anybody who has made those criticisms of the president under no circumstances should think that Donald Trump is presidential material. You only need to look at his comments on women, or only his comments on Mexicans, or only his comments on Muslims to know that he is a great divider. But put them all together, and this is somebody who is going to tear us apart.
You see, you say that, but that's not what the polls show. Donald Trump's doing really well with women, and he's doing better with Hispanics than, what is it, any Republican since the 1920s? He's doing great with all the minorities that commentators like to say that he's somehow bigoted against. He's doing great with everybody. He's even doing great with Democrats. 20% of Democrats say they'd vote for Donald Trump. So, you know, you hear a lot about Donald Trump being this sort of offensive, clownish populist figure, and he is a populist, and people love it.
These polls are terribly skewed at the moment because there's so many Republicans on that national stage. People are looking to him, they're big fans of his, but they're only at that 30% mark. He has never polled over that 35% mark, and that's because his unfavorability ratings are sky high. They're so much higher than any previous presidential candidate who's actually looking to get the nominations has been. People are polling at 60%, 55%, saying that they will never vote for him. So yes, at the moment, because other people are splitting the votes, he's doing very well. But when you have 60% of the population saying they will never vote for this man ever, put him up against Hillary Clinton, put him up against Bernie Sanders, and he will fail.
Well, you see, again, you say that, but there's been a recent change in the polls. It used to be the case that he was trailing.
His unfavorability ratings are still
unfavorability ratings
high.
aren't great, but he was trailing Hillary. You know, if he wins the nomination, he was trailing Hillary by what, 10 percentage points?
Huge, 20 percentage points.
Not anymore. He's now 3 points ahead, 4 points ahead, and some of the polls put him 5 points ahead. What scares people about Donald Trump is they want to attack him the way the media always attacks anybody popular and who actually speaks in plain language to ordinary people about the things they care about, whether it's immigration or jobs or whatever.
But is he a misogynistic racist?
Of course not. He just speaks plainly, and he doesn't mind who he offends because he thinks that the subjects he talks about matter. And when he said last night in the debate, he responded brilliantly to the allegation that he was an angry man. He said, yeah, I am angry, and here are the reasons why. And everybody in that room was behind him.
But if you want somebody who's actually going to attack the anger that Americans are feeling towards the elites, and you want someone who's actually going to stand up and do that,
the ultimate
you need
candidate
somebody
for that.
who, A, has a policy. I'm just asking for one. I mean, the man flip-flops on every single issue. All he says is, I'm going to make America great again.
He's totally consistent on immigration. And by the way,
saying that millions of people, regardless of who they are individually, cannot come into your country is not an immigration policy, it's also not constitutional. As Rand Paul has pointed out many times, so much of what he proposes.
People agree with him, and
people do not agree with overthrowing the Constitution in America. I promise you that.
Donald Trump was saying, let's look at whether we should have a temporary halt on Muslim immigration before Cologne. Now Cologne has happened, the whole game has changed.
I don't think
Americans
the whole game
are watching
has changed.
Germany, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, we do not want this in America.
I don't think
and
that
the only
Americans
Republican
have become
candidate,
racist
Don't do pointy fingers.
The only Republican candidate who was saying this was Trump. Trump has been right about immigration, over and over and over again, and he's been ahead of everybody else doing it.
There are deeply conservative candidates like Senator Ted Cruz who are very skeptical of immigration and who have come down hard, who have even said, I want to build a wall with Mexico. Now, I don't particularly...
Well, after Trump,
I don't particularly want to subscribe to that, but there are other candidates out there who are offering these ideas to voters.
And they're polling at 2-3%.
Ted Cruz is about to beat him in Iowa.
You know what?
There are other candidates.
No.
I think the bigger point here is that I am completely understanding of Americans who are frustrated and skeptical of the current system now. What I don't understand is how, when you have other options, you could possibly say that somebody who has been so sexist and so rude against other ethnicities.
And women don't agree with you. Hispanics don't agree with you.
Most of
Blacks
them do.
Don't agree with you. They don't.
Massive generalization, surely.
No, it's based on poll numbers. Trump is rating higher with blacks, higher with Hispanics, and higher with women than any other Republican candidate for decades.
There's a campaign in the United Kingdom.
What ordinary voters believe about Donald Trump is so different from what you'll hear from the media and the commentariat. It is untrue.
Milo,
the media did this with UKIP. It backfired. It did it with Corbyn. It backfired. It's doing it now with Trump, and it will backfire here
Milo,
too. And Sanders, for that matter.
But you and I would agree that UKIP and Jeremy Corbyn are not going to be Prime Minister of the UK anytime soon.
No, but Trump, on the other hand, does have a chance to make America great again.
All the suggestion in the polls is actually that he doesn't, that those more moderate candidates are much more likely to beat Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump
not what the latest numbers show.
Yes, it is.
They
he is
show
doing
if he
a
won
bit
the
better with
nomination
minorities,
today,
but we're still talking about tiny percentages in comparison to the majority of the population.
Let Milo speak.
If he were a sexist and a bigot, wouldn't he be doing terribly with minorities? Wouldn't he, in fact, have at least an average rating with minorities? He doesn't. He has the best numbers with minorities of any Republican candidate in decades.
I have no idea what's in his heart. I have no idea if in his heart he is a racist or a bigot. Frankly, I think I'm not sure he is either. He's such a populist.
Look how many women are in his businesses.
He is such a populist that I think if Americans were skeptical of young white women coming into the country, he would go on TV and say that we should ban them. He is such a populist. All he is doing is trying to feed in to what he thinks is going to make him a winner and get him votes, which is why we've seen him flip-flop on every single issue. He's been willing to say anything. I think people are feeding into him to some extent because they like that he isn't PC, they like that he's an alternative to the establishment, but a man who had the opportunity to actually talk about the serious issues ran with fear and emotion and has made outrageous and hurtful and wrong comments. He's lied on air.
You see, where we
about
differ
crime
is
rates.
I don't care about feelings. I don't care
Do you care about
offense
facts?
taking.
Do you care about the facts? Do you care about lying about the number
I
of people?
don't care about offense taking. I don't care about feelings. You say, oh, he's so offensive, he's so bigoted, he says the awful things about women. American voters don't care either. They agree with him and they agree with me.
I care about facts and I care about the Constitution and I care about upholding the rule of law. And Donald Trump threatens all of those things. And his idea, especially with Barack Obama making this executive action on gun control, this precedent has now been set that if Donald Trump comes in, he's going to be able to use executive action to make some very dangerous decisions.
But Trump is saying he wants to repeal the unlawful things that Obama has done. I mean, Obama's come in and tried to undermine the Second Amendment, which I think we both are strong supporters of, at every available opportunity. You know, he has used his relationship, he has put in place an Attorney General who hates the Second Amendment, who wants to take guns off everybody. He himself wants to take guns off everybody. He's tried to undermine it every opportunity. Trump's the one who's come in and said,
It's a little radical.
I will repeal President Obama's unlawful executive actions.
I'll appeal President Obama's unlawful executive actions, and I'll put in place my own. Both men are not the example of presidential material.
It's not just him that said that.
Several candidates have said that.
Yeah. What would the USA look like if he was president?
Well, luckily we have a system that has a lot of checks and balances. I think it would actually be very difficult for President Trump to put into place a lot of the things that he proposes. But given the fact that the past 8 years have been defined by gridlock, the economy remains relatively stagnant, I think you would see so much more of that. Look at President Reagan. He was a B-list Hollywood actor, but the reason that he became such a great uniter and such a great politician is because he took the time to read and to create policies.
But Trump is a Reaganite candidate.
He is so far from it. This is a man who does not have policy, and if he were to be elected, America would be lost. I don't think it would be in complete and utter destruction on day one, but it would be deeply lost, and we need real leadership. We've had 8 years without it.
Hypothetically, we could find... Hello. Hypothetically, we could find ourselves in a position where the new president of the United States of America is banned from the United Kingdom.
Yeah, because British politicians are idiots, and they would rather spend valuable parliamentary time talking about language policing than fixing poverty or fighting terrorism.
Language policing to you, racism to others.
No, well, where has Donald Trump been a racist? Black voters love him. Shouldn't we listen to them rather than to, like, white commentariats? Shouldn't we listen to black voters rather than white people on TV saying that Donald Trump's such a racist? Black people don't agree.
Milo and I agree on this point, but for completely different reasons. I don't think that Donald Trump should be banned from the UK. I think that the 500,000 people that signed that petition actually fed into an immigration system that Donald Trump would support. They want to ban him based on his ideology because he wants to ban other people based on their ideology. That doesn't add up to me. Completely different reason, but I don't think he should be banned from the UK. It's a silly proposal.
There are lots of good reasons why it is totally dumb for the people who run this country to be wasting time on whether they should ban a person who is currently a candidate for president and a reality TV star and a successful businessman who has some perfectly respectable, ordinary views that millions of people share, but somebody got upset about it somewhere on the page of The Guardian, so now we have to discuss this in Parliament.
I'm not sure who's hateful, but that doesn't matter.
We're almost out of time. This is absolutely fascinating. Hopefully you'll come back and talk to us again soon. Who will win the nomination?
Oh, gosh.
Donald Trump.
Oh,
Wait your turn, Milo.
Sorry.
That's unlikely.
I'm just so excited about him.
I'm sure.
I'm split at the moment. If I had to pick now based on the polling, it's between Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Ted Cruz. I think what happens in Iowa and New Hampshire in the next few weeks will determine that front runner.
Your turn.
Can't stump the Trump. Donald Trump is going to win. He's going to get the nomination, absent sort of gerrymandering from the Republican establishment, which is still a possibility. He will win the nomination. What the latest polls show is if he does, he'll beat Clinton.
And he'll make America great again?
He will make America fabulous.
Oh, dear.
Told you it was going to be a great debate, didn't I? Hopefully you two will come back again soon.
we will.
It's
Thanks for having
great
us.
to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.